What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm Waiver Wire Queen. Today, we are going to talk about some players that should help you going into the next round of the playoffs because we're speaking into existence and we are moving forward. We're winning every round, and the ultimate goal is to win whatever league you're in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy listening to the podcast, check us out. We are out here in these fantasy basketball streets. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google. We are out here. Let's jump right into it and give you some of these great players who have been playing very well. Let's talk about Trendon Watford, forward slash center with the Trailblazers. He's been a pleasant surprise. At first, when he started to see an increase in his minutes, wasn't producing as much. The last several games, he has been very consistent, and I think they should just continue to let him play. They're not going to be going anywhere in regards to the playoffs. This is a team that's in rebuild. You only really have one superstar on that team, and he is not going to play the rest of this season. So why not let some of the younger guys play just to see what you have going forward? But again, it's the Trailblazers. They believe in no small backcourt, so anything's possible with them. But nonetheless, this young man has been playing very well. He's rostered in over 18% of Yahoo leagues, and all of my information in regards to the rosters are Yahoo and also the Sleeper app. I use those two. I use Yahoo for my redraft leagues, and I use Sleeper for my fantasy basketball dynasty league. So again, with this young man, he's been playing very well going into the next round of the playoffs. The Trailblazers have 4 games coming up this week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So plan accordingly. You look at your schedule, you may have some teams that only have two games, maybe 3, which is hard to compete against. That's why you just gotta make sure you are looking at your schedule and using the waiver wire accordingly. And again, with the Trailblazers having 4 games this week, he's definitely a nice add, and he's going to be available to you at least 4 days out of the week, pending any injuries or any craziness from the Trailblazers. So he's definitely a really good add. So if you have the opportunity to pick him up, please do so. His percentage of being rostered, it jumped up extremely high. And I'm going to go back and just check again briefly to see where it's at, because it has been going up drastically. So it's at 57% now. So he's been rostered at 57% right now, which is much higher than last time. Last time it was 17. Now it's at 57. And that means he's still out there. So if you have the opportunity to pick him up because he's producing. We want players who are producing right now in the playoffs. Let's talk about Mason Plumlee, forward slash center with the Charlotte Hornets. He is playing well. He has played well for the most part this season. So he's definitely a player that should be able to help your team right now in the playoffs. He's only rostered at 49% of Yahoo leagues, which is not high at all, considering he can start for you in the forward or the center spot. So that is good. I like players who can start and play in multiple positions because they can definitely help my team on a nightly basis. And he's definitely capable of helping your team. The Hornets have 4 games coming up this week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, which is very good, which means he is going to be available to you more than some of these other teams. Some teams, again, 2 games this week. That is very hard to keep up with and compete against when it comes to your opponent in their roster. They may have the players that are playing 4 games. So you are going to have to make up for that somewhere, and working the waiver wire is a great way to help you make up for some of your guys not being available for enough games to help your team compete at this stage of the season. It's crazy right now. But nonetheless, with Plumlee, he's just been playing very well, been consistent again for the most part this season. Fantasy points averages 23 to 24 fantasy points, which is very, very good. His season averages 6.6 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and he shoots a solid percentage from the field. So that is really good value. So if you have the chance to pick him up, pick him up. Because again, he's still rostered slightly below 50%, which means you have a 50% chance of picking him up. And if you can, you do so, because again, he's going to be able to play the forward and the center spot for you in Yahoo and on the sleeper app. Let's talk about Patrick Beverley. And I know a lot of people think Patrick Beverley is like, he really doesn't do much, but he's still been very solid this season. He's playing the guard spot with the Timberwolves. Timberwolves have been a surprise this season. They surprised the hell out of me because, they stink it up every year, but they've been solid for the most part this year. With Beverley, he's only rostered at 30%. That should be much higher for how consistent he has been for the most part this season. Obviously, every player will go through that stage of the season where they, get into a slump. We've seen Steph do it. So, yeah, with Beverley, it's going to happen. And I'll tell you, with Beverley, he's going to do a little bit of everything at a low rate, but it all transpires into production. Fantasy points on a season, he averages between 23 and 24 fantasy points per game, which is really good. His season averages 9.5 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1.1 steal, and he's going to play good defense. Shooting percentages are not going to be that great, but again, like I said, he's going to do a little bit of everything, and when you combine all of that production, it's going to still help your team. It's better than not having a player playing for you this week. Again, there are some teams that don't have a lot of games on the schedule. So you want somebody who has a lot of games, which means they're going to be playing, especially in a points-based league. It's all about points. So you want players playing as much as possible that whole week. And Beverley is going to be appearing in 4 games. Marvin Bagley, /center with the Detroit Pistons. That's right, y'all. He has been playing very well. And again, if you can pick him up, pick him up. He's rostered at 59%. That is going up, and it's going to go up over the weekend. So don't wait until this round of the playoffs ends. If you can pick him up today, tomorrow, pick him up, because you want to have him for the rest of this round and going into the next round. Don't wait until the next round starts. You already need to have your plan in place. If you already see that you're going to beat your opponent this week, because that's just what we do out here in fantasy basketball world, you need to start looking at your strategy for the upcoming week, because again, some of these games just is not lining up with the teams. And so you may have one of your top players, they only play 2 games this week, and then your opponent, their top player, plays 4 games. You have to prepare for that, and you don't want to wait until your that round occurs to start trying to prepare for that, because you never know what your opponent is doing. They definitely scouting you out, so you gotta already have your plan in place and act. Don't react off of what your opponent is going to be doing. So I'm gonna need you to make some moves. Now, with Marvin Bagley's averaging between 21 22 fantasy points on a season averages 10.5 points, 7.2 rebounds. For a guy who hasn't played much early on in the season and now starting to play, very productive. And that's something you want, production. Again, it's all about the production. And if you can pick him up, whether that is in a points-based league or in a categories-based league, do so, because at least in the categories-based league, he is going to help your team out with the rebounds tremendously. Okay, he's definitely going to help. And you got to think, if you slot him in as a center, that's good production. 10 points, 7-8 rebounds as a center, very good production, especially when you're picking them up off of waivers. So pick him up. And again, the Pistons have 4 games: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So that is good. Now, when we talk about the Clippers, we're talking about Terrence Mann. He's playing very well of late. Early on in the season, inconsistent, but when you look at his stats, still very productive and shoots very good percentage from the field. But when you think about with the Clippers, they only have 2 games this week, Tuesday and Friday. that is hard as hell to compete with, because the type of production that he has provided as of late, that's going to hurt. So you have to look elsewhere. And again, with Mann, he plays the guard in the forward spot. Maybe you want to look at Patrick Beverley. Although Mann has been producing more statistically when it comes to the points and stuff, you can use that production. So you can look at someone like Patrick Beverley and pick him up, because Mann is only going to be available to 2 games. It is just very spaced out, Tuesday and then Friday, and that's it. So again, Patrick Beverley is a player you can definitely consider. So with Mann on the season, 21 to 22 fantasy points, which is still good. And when you think of Patrick Beverley, 23 to 24 fantasy points, Beverley has been a more consistent player throughout the season. However, most people want Mann, but you got to think Mann only got 2 games going on this week, and you're going to need more production in 2 games from Mann. So you may need to look at Patrick Beverley to help your team, and it's nothing wrong with that. We don't care about the names, and we don't care what they did for us last week or early on in the season. We care about what they're going to do for us right now in the playoffs. But with Mann, still very productive, and he will help you for those 2 games. Just got to keep in mind, it's only going to be 2 games, and you don't want to be the one who has Mann for 2 games and then somebody has, say, Beverley for 4 games. So if you want, you can kind of, just strategize and use Mann when you can, because I wouldn't say drop him. No, I would not say drop him, but just know you're going to have to find production elsewhere as well. On a season, he averages 10.6 points and 5.5 rebounds, which is very good. Very, very good stats, okay? He's been solid all season overall, even though he's had times where it's just been like he's just gonna stay on waivers. He was expected to do more, but he hasn't, and that's understandable. To me, they have too many players who play the same damn position out there, the Clippers. But it is what it is. Let's talk about Darius Bailey. 3 games this week. Plays with OKC. 3 games. Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. That's okay, guys. He's still productive. He's been on a tear as of late, but he's so inconsistent at times. But again, right now he's playing very well. So what do we want? We want the guy who's playing very well right now. We don't care that he was inconsistent 2-3 weeks ago. He's consistent right now, and he can help your team. Plays the forward spot. Shooting percentages are not great. So if you're looking for great shooting, solid shooting, you ain't getting that here, okay? You got a better chance of hollering at Waiver Wire Queen. I come in to help you out, but no, shooting percentages are really not that good, but it doesn't matter because he's doing other things, especially in a points-based league, okay? He's going to at least get you a double-double on most nights. He averages 10.5 points on the season, 6.6 rebounds. Not bad. However, as of late, his production has increased drastically. So you don't even look at that or consider his season averages, because he is exceeding his season averages this this last two plus weeks. Now, when I say to you again, the 3 games, I like the way it's spaced out: Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. But you got to think about at least one more game, because again, you may be going up against the person who has Bagley. You want to make sure that you don't lose because you just didn't have enough players playing, especially in a points-based league. It's all about points, and we don't care how you get your points. Get your daggone points, guys. That's it. That's it. That's it. And again, Bagley can help you, and he has been playing very well. I want to take a brief look at what he has done over the last few weeks, just to kind of get an idea of pretty much what he's done this season. He again is a very, very good rebounder, volume shooter, and it's not in a good way because he don't make his shots, because his shooting is just whoo. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, when he shoot that ball, I just want to say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But at the end of the day, he still is able to produce. And that's all we care about. We care about the production. Don't care how he's getting it. He's still going to score the ball, and he's still going to rebound the ball for your team. But you just got to understand that the shooting percentages are not going to be there. So if you are in a categories-based league, you know that if you take a chance on him, he's going to hurt your field goal percentage. Let's just talk about what he has done the last few games. Again, there's some times where it's just like, ooh, he didn't have a good game. And there's some times where it's like, oh, okay. Yes, against Charlotte, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, very active. And he hit some threes, which is a shocker. 4 for 9, which isn't bad. Against the Spurs, 25-9. Okay, hit 4 threes again, and then you see there's a few games where it was just not that great. But again, it happens. There's going to be those days where he has off nights, or it's just not there. That happens with everyone, and you just gotta take the good with the bad and roll with it. But you catching him for the most part at a time where he's hot and he's very productive, and you want to be a part of it. You want to be the one to have the players who are producing and the players who pretty much are going to help you win your league, because that's simply what it is all about. Let's talk about a few other players who you should consider. When I talked about Watford, also Drew Eubanks is another player. He's playing for the Trailblazers, so he's playing 4 games this coming up week. Please keep in mind that they both are getting in there. They both are playing, but I feel like Trendon has the slight edge. So if you had to choose between Drew and Trendon, I'm gonna go with Trendon for right now. Let's talk about some other guys. Bruce Brown has been playing very well. Definitely check him out. Io with the Chicago Bulls, he is still starting. Lonzo isn't back yet, even though Caruso is back. Um, Io has still been able to play very well. So you definitely need to keep him in mind. Dante DiVincenzo with the Kings plays the guard spot. Shooting percentages are not that great. His shooting percentages this season don't reflect of how good of a shooter he is. Just not a good season for him because he didn't even play most of the season. But he is playing very well right now. And again, we don't care what a player did early on this season. We don't even care what they did last week. We are here right now and he's producing, so you want to pick him up. Malik Monk, he's good from 3. So you can rely on him if you need to, and just know he plays the guard and the forward spot. Emmanuel Quickly, he's had some really good games, and he's had some games where you're like, ooh, shouldn't have picked him up. But for the most part, it's been more productive. So if you are looking for a player, and again, you just got to look at the amount of games these teams are playing, then pick him up. He can help you in a spot start situation. Alfred Sengun, another player who can help you, plays the center spot. Let's see who else we got out here who can help. Alec Burks has been playing much better as of late, so he's definitely a player you should check for. Brandon Williams, I've talked about him a few times over the last week. He has good value as long as Simons is out. Once Simons return, that value going to go down, it's going to drop. So you have to keep that in mind. As long as he's out, this young man has great value. But once he returns, it's time to move on. And that's what you got to always understand and do. Move on early. Don't wait till the last minute to move on and hold on too long. And then you end up getting a player who scores like 6-7 fantasy points for you. You got to be careful with that, guys. Be careful. Be careful. Kevon Looney, /center with the Warriors, still playing very well this season. He's had a really good season this year, guys. I know it may not be the move you want to make, but it may be the move that'll take you to the next level. And what I mean by that is win your league, guys. Come on with it. Isaiah Jackson, if he comes out of the concussion protocol for the next round of the playoffs for you, then you definitely should consider him. I'm sure he'll hopefully get out of the concussion protocol at some point. He has been playing very well, shoots a really good percentage from the field. He is a player that the Pacers are using. So again, think of it as, well, your opponent has probably dropped him and moved on. So you could look at him and see, oh, he's coming back this day. Then you can pick him up because he's produced when he has been on the court. Corey Joseph is a wild card, a player I really don't like recommending, but he has played well at times, very inconsistent. Hayes has not taken that starting guard spot. And Joseph has some value. And I stress this when it comes to Joseph. You got to look at the matchup and see who he's playing, because it's just going to be some nights. It's going to be one night he's going to give you, say, 23 fantasy points. There's going to be another night he played 30 minutes and he only got you 9. So he's going to frustrate you. So when I'm naming all of these guys, he's one of those guys who's all the way at the bottom of the list. Like, pick other players off this list before you select him. So let's just say, for an example, Simons is not playing anymore this season, or he's not going to play a few games next week. I would trust Brandon Williams over Corey Davis by a lot. So think of it like that. Who else we should talk about? Markelle Fultz. He's only playing about 17, 18 minutes per game. As long as Suggs is out, he has some value. But again, it's going to be those nights where he's going to get you maybe 17 fantasy points. And then there's going to be those nights where he's going to score the ball, maybe get you 10, 11 points and get you 8, 9 assists. You just don't know which night that's going to be. However, again, when I compare Brandon Williams, if he is still playing, I would go with Brandon Williams over Markelle Fultz. Kevin Huerter is another player, guard/forward with the Atlanta Hawks. I like players who can play both spots. It's been very good all season for the most part. So check for him. Jay Crowder, still available. Pick him up. Playing very well for the Suns, and they playing my Chicago Bulls tonight. Bulls gonna win tonight, y'all. And another player who should be at the top of your list is Onyeka Okongwu, /center with the Hawks. Obviously, Capella is going to start. He has been very, very good in the limited role with limited minutes. But when Capella is out, this young man produces. And also keep in mind, Collins is out indefinitely. I do believe they'll probably go with my homeboy Gallinari a little bit more. But I still think at times you're going to see Capella and Okongwu on the court at the same time. And he will produce. He's going to get you points and rebounds, which is very important. He's going to shoot a high percentage. So if you can pick him up, then definitely do so. And Alexi, center from OKC, playing very well. Pick him up. Take a chance on him. Again, when you are looking at some of these guys, just keep in mind that some of them have more opportunity because they're playing more games this week. And that is very, very important in the playoffs. All right, y'all. Make sure you hit the like button and leave some comments on some players you are considering picking up going into the next round of the playoffs. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy listening to the podcast, you know, we are out here in these fantasy basketball streets. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google. We are out here, y'all. And also let us know what you think of the players we recommended this week on waivers. Y'all have a great weekend. Good luck going into the next round. Peace.
Thanks for listening to The Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to The Score for more fun and great advice on how to win at fantasy basketball. And if you've got comments or questions about The Score, send them to waiverwirequeen@gmail.com. The Score.